Of course, as I had mentioned earlier, we do have on the line with us Miss Fatma Karume, former president of Tanzania Law Society. Of course, thank you so much for joining us right this hour. And of course, just to understand a little bit on the landscape following the happenings in Tanzania, your country now has a new president. What are your expectations of President Samia Suluhu Hassan?
I think my personal expectations for President Samia Suluhu Hassan are that she takes us back to rule of law, respect for human rights, dignity of the individuals, and constitutionality. That is extremely important. And I would also like her to continue with the constitutional process that was started by President Kikwete. It is essential that Tanzania, if we're to have, let's say, peace in the long term, it is essential that we revise our constitution and we have a new constitution and a new social contract between us and our leaders.
That is quite a heavy expectation. And of course, even the departed late president was accused of stifling dissent, silencing and criminalizing the official opposition, the media and other voices advocating for democracy. What do we expect? Should we expect to see a shift of policy with her, of course, new leadership?
I think it's a matter of course. It's not going to... it's sort of, how can I put it? She's a completely different person from President Magufuli. She has come from a different background. She has different experiences. Of course, she's going to lead. Her leadership style is going to be different from President Magufuli. And I thank the Lord for that. And she's a woman, she's a mother, and her experiences are different. So I'm looking forward to a new leadership style. I'm looking forward to more kindness in public office. I'm looking forward to respect for the rule of law.
Talked about her leadership style, and President Magufuli had a near fanatical following in Tanzania due to his largely populist way of doing things. So how can Samia Hassan balance between her leadership style and keeping up with Magufuli's legacy?
I think that she should not worry too much about keeping up with Magufuli's legacy. Magufuli had 5 years to ensure he left a legacy. It is not up to Samia Suluhu Hassan to let's say, ensure Magufuli's legacy. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the president of the United Republic of Tanzania, has to now prepare her own legacy. And she has to ask herself, what is that legacy going to be? So far, so good. I would have liked to see her today wearing face masks to make it quite clear that we are suffering from COVID-19 and to bring us in line with the rest of the world. And actually, it was one of those low-hanging fruits that she could have just picked so easily off the tree. Unfortunately, she didn't. I hope that she will make changes to that particular policy.
What do you think are some of the challenges that she's likely to face as the new president?
Right. So the first challenge she's going to face is that she's got a parliament that was basically handpicked by the president of the United Republic, the then president of the United Republic of Tanzania, President Magufuli. And it was handpicked for a particular purpose. I'm confident it was handpicked to ensure that there would be a change of the constitution so that he could continue past the two-term limit. Now, she doesn't have, she may not have many friends in parliament. So she's going to have to start consolidating her power base. She's going to have to know who her friends are in parliament, because without making friends and having some kind of influence in parliament, she's going to find it very difficult to run the government, particularly given the fact that 99% of parliament is now CCM. So they will have no reason to sort of consolidate around her, it's going to be easier for them to attack her rather than consolidate around her, because we have to remember that come 2025, there are going to be a lot of men who will want the presidency. So I'm hoping that her view is a long-term view, that she's going to run in 2025. Because as you were going through the list of the Female Presidents Club in Africa, it was very disappointing to see that a lot of them have not stayed on for that long. And I would like to see Samia Suluhu running again in 2025.
Yes, indeed. Of course, that would definitely be a victory for the African female presidents. But then again, what are the opportunities that President Samia can leverage on?
When you say opportunities, could you explain yourself? Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Of course, now you have mentioned some of the challenges to be that we have found that most of the African leaders have been male, and that is more or less patriarchy. But then there must be some opportunities that lie in her path as she continues to take on the role as a female president that she could take advantage of in the situation that she is in right now as a female president. So what are some of these opportunities that perhaps lie ahead of her that she can begin to perhaps even incorporate more of her new legacy policies and even ensure that more females take on positions even within Tanzania?
So one of there is some good news for her. A third of parliament in Tanzania, 30% of parliament is female. So she will need, this again is a low-hanging fruit. And she needs to make friends with the 30% of female members of parliament and get their support. So politically, that is something she could do quite easily. She's also from Zanzibar, so she could call in her constituency from Zanzibar for support. And I think with respect to opportunities, there are plenty of opportunities. Look, the majority of voters are actually women.
Right.
We just want opportunities like men have. And she needs to come to us and give us, for example, the right for our daughters to go back to school when they're pregnant, because, you know, Magufuli said that they would have to be expelled from school. This is, again, a low-hanging fruit, and it's actually part of the CCM manifesto. So if I were to advise her, I would say she's already got a huge constituency amongst women, and she just needs to work it.
Like that you've mentioned that these indeed are some of the low-hanging fruits that she can perhaps begin to do, but we're seeing again that the Scramble for Africa rather has been fierce over the last few years, an issue which President Magufuli was strongly opposed to. Now, are world leaders expected to take advantage of Samia Hassan and how she is expected to handle it?
When you say Scramble for Africa, I just want to get this clear, because there's an assumption in your question that there's some people out there who are scrambling for Africa like they did in the 1800s. Is this the assumption you're making?
Well, the assumption is that we are seeing we have a lot of resources and a lot of investment opportunities that are available in Africa, but we've seen that leaders have tried to tap into locally available resources and the manpower and the labor. And so when we're talking about a scramble, of course, yes, we are referring to not the same situation as we saw in the colonial times, but even in recent times, trying to see that investment opportunities go majorly to foreigners rather than the local people taking advantage of what is available for them. So the question really is, are world leaders expected to take advantage of Samia Hassan, and how is she expected to handle this, seeing that she is a female president in Tanzania? Is that something that is a disadvantage in her favor?
So I'm assuming that from your question, you're talking about resource nationalism. Rather than Scramble for Africa. So the question is, Magufuli did experiment with resource nationalism, Unfortunately, the experiment was, I think, wrongly done. It could have been done a lot better. It could have been better thought out. It was very aggressive and it was very unattractive to foreign capital. We have to understand that there is nothing wrong with attracting foreign capital. Actually, foreign capital helps with our balance of payments. So to suggest that foreign capital is a bad thing is wrong. There's plenty of foreign capital that goes into the United States of America, particularly from China. No one seems to complain. What is important is how you set up your laws so that you can take advantage of the foreign capital and your nationals can have employment opportunities grow.
So, yes. Hello, Ms. Fatma?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes, right. So unfortunately, that's the only time that we had. But what I'm hearing from you is it's more or less, it's not a problem when we have foreign investors coming in to tap into the resources, but really it's more of the policies and how the governance is structured in order to really utilize what's locally available. And of course, even as we continue to see more on seeing different countries mourning the death of John Pombe Magufuli. Thank you so much, Ms. Fatma Karume, for joining us this evening.